Young stars like Matt Dominguez, Jose Altuve, and Jonathan Villar hope to play spoiler with one of their oldest rivals. With Jay Bruce, Joey Votto, and Brandon Phillips, the Reds are on the cusp of a wild card spot. It's game one with one of the Astros' oldest rivals with playoff implications. Astros Reds next. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's interleague baseball as the Astros meet their longtime rivals, the Cincinnati Reds from the National League Central. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby. It does have that old-time feel for it. It'll be the 840th meeting between the Astros and Reds.
Brownie, even with those numbers, I think a lot of people are missing these meetings between these two ball clubs. They have been rivals a long time, and there were a lot of very meaningful games between these two teams.
The Reds have had a rough time lately. They lost 2 of 3 to the Cubs, then lost 2 of 3 to Milwaukee. They'll face left-hander Eric Bedard, who's been in the bullpen but now returns to the rotation tonight.
Cincinnati Reds, some people may believe are pressing about this time of year, but Eric Bedard is making that first start since August 21st, 4 starts in the month of August, and has been without starts since, working out of the bullpen. Over the course of the year, Bedard has done a pretty nice job as a starter, leaving a number of pitches up, still having success. He's a guy who will work the inside corner considerably on both righties and lefty, and the ball club needs a big start tonight.
For the Reds, 2 of their power guys are left-handed hitters against the lefty Bedard, and we'll take a look at them next, Ash.
Eric, or Jay Bruce, rather, a lot of power and a local product. He does have 13 home runs on the road this year and a .295 mark, so he has swung it very well away from home, and they have a great home-hitting ballpark. And then, of course, there's Joey Votto, one of the game's outstanding hitters. Career against the Astros, he's torn them up, 367 with 8 bombs. Joey Votto can swing it anywhere, and when he's on his game, as good as they come.
Coming up next, these former National League Central rivals square off now as interleague opponents, and Julia Morales will have more on the Astros' remaining schedule with contenders stacked up against Houston for the final 2 weeks. More in a moment.
Set for a 3-game series here. The Astros welcoming back the Cincinnati Reds to a ballpark they know very well. They even admitted today that they thought it was strange to see DH on the lineup as they return to a place they know very well. Every game right now for the Cincinnati Reds is a big one, playing for their playoff lives. They even recently moved around their starting rotation to get set for a big series against division rivals. The Pittsburgh Pirates are still fighting for a division title there. They're 4.5 games, though, over the Washington Nationals when it comes to the wild card. So playoff contenders there, and it doesn't stop for the Houston Astros. After the Reds, the Astros hit the road. They will face Cleveland, a team who is also in the playoff hunt. Take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Astros there. Indians right now a half game out of the wild card contention. They've faced Cleveland 4 times there. Texas slipping in the AL West division race, but can get right back in it. They're in position to make the playoffs. And the year ends with the New York Yankees. If they don't know by then, that could be a very interesting weekend at Minute Maid Park. Bo Porter hoping his team steps up to this challenge, proving you can play with some of the better teams in the league. They're definitely a test for his club. Stay with us on CSN. Astros baseball is coming up after the break. Eric Bedard and Johnny Cueto take the mound. We'll have lineups and first pitch after the break.
Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares only at southwest.com. And by Progressive. Visit progressive.com today. Had some rain in the area this afternoon around Minute Maid Park, and that is certainly welcome to this parched area of southeast Texas. Dusty Baker has his lineup card. Eduardo Perez has the Astros card as they meet with the umpires around home plate. Wally Bell will have the plate tonight with Marvin Hudson at first, crew chief Tim McClellan at second, and Marty Foster will be the third base umpire. They go over the ground rules here as the Reds come in for the first and only time this season, and they used to make at least 2 trips and sometimes 3. They would play up to 9 games a season here at Minute Maid Park, so it's a totally different feel as they come back this time, Ash.
I think for everybody on the Cincinnati Reds side, it's kind of bizarre right now. They're wondering why there are DHs involved in the game. A whole lot of things going on, but it is a very different feel.
Well, as they look out toward the field, they have seen the Astros take their positions, and here is a look at the Reds starting lineup filled out by Dusty Baker, with Shin-Soo Choo, the leadoff man in center field, Brandon Phillips at second base, Joey Votto at first, Jay Bruce in right field, Ryan Ludwig the DH. Todd Frazier plays third base with Zach Cozart at shortstop. The number 8 hitter is catcher Ryan Hannigan, and the number 9 man in left field is Chris Heisey.
Eric Bedard runs out to the mound, 34-year-old left-hander. He's 4-10 on the year. He's pitched probably better than that. 4.47 the ERA. Been working in relief recently, and 4 innings of shutout ball against the Oakland A's, but his last start coming on August 21st at Texas against the Rangers. About a couple of earned runs in 4 1/3 innings. Defense for Eric Bedard tonight. Behind the plate, Carlos Corporan. Around the infield, right to left, Chris Carter, Jose Altuve, Jonathan Villar, and Matt Dominguez. In the outfield and center field, Brandon Barnes, flanked by LJ Hose in right, and Trevor Crow in left.
The Reds, with 6 games remaining against the Buccos, will have that meeting at PNC Park with the Pirates this weekend. So this series plays into that in a very important way, and Dusty Baker would love to cut some of that 3.5 game distance between his club and Pittsburgh and St. Louis. He's a 3-time National League Manager of the Year in 93, 97, and 2000, and his club has 84 wins and 66 losses, taking the field tonight. And was looking in really good shape earlier this month, but now has lost 4 of 6. Choo leads it off at 288 with 21 homers, 51 runs batted in, and 893 OPS for the Korean-born outfielder. And there's strike 1 for Bedard. As you mentioned, Ash, it's been a while since he started a game. That game in Texas, the 21st of August. But last time out on September 8th, he worked 4 shutout innings in relief at Oakland. Stretching it out with 47 pitches. Well, we don't know what his pitch limit would be in this game tonight. No balls and 2 strikes. Probably just a decision based on how he feels, right?
I would imagine. You reflect back to the game where he took a no-hitter late in the ball game. Eric Bedard is a guy that knows his own arm, and he's going to speak up.
It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Choo has had a fabulous year. He's second in the league in walks with 101, and second in the league in runs scored with that same number, 101. Hitting .375 his last 18 games. And he takes that one high for a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Left-handed hitters actually are faring better against Bedard with a .286 average. Bo Porter probably saluting Dusty Baker across the field. Well, maybe one of the coaches. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes to Choo.
Dusty Baker's been at this managing gig for a long time, and he's been a very successful guy.
Good numbers at home for Eric. 3-2 with an ERA of 3.00 at Minute Maid Park. He gets it in for strike 3, and Choo is caught looking to open the game.
I always hate to see hitters argue on a pitch that's so obviously in the strike zone. When it at least comes across that they're trying to get that walk. This pitch just appears to be absolutely there.
Now Brandon Phillips, an all-star this year, 32 years old. One of the best second basemen in the major leagues. With 18 homers, 101 runs batted in, and a .263 average. He's second in the National League in runs batted in. Phillips shoots one foul. There's strike 1 to Brandon. In addition to his offensive exploits, just a terrific glove man. It's the 3rd time he's been an all-star in the last 4 years. He was hitting cleanup most of the time this year until late August. Now moving back recently into the number 2 spot. And Bedard misses there with a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
13th in MVP voting last year, Brandon Phillips. So he's a guy that is viewed as certainly one of the guys that carries this Reds club.
That's in for a strike as Bedard moves it inside and goes to a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Phillips. No Red second baseman has ever led the National League in runs batted in. Phillips currently the number 2 man to Paul Goldschmidt of Arizona in the RBI race. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count with Joey Votto on deck.
It's pretty tough when you've got a ball club that's trying to get their way into the postseason again. You need the big guys to drive in runs. And Brandon Phillips here in the month of September, and he is one of the big guys, hitting 196 with just a pair of RBIs.
That's a foul ball. The Reds are looking for some offensive leadership. Their bats have really gone cold for several players. Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, Ryan Ludwig, and others not really reaching the kind of offensive success their ball club is looking for. And he chops that one foul. .196 in September. 1 homer, 2 runs batted in for Phillips.
Eric Bedard likes to throw that curveball a lot, but he'll work fastballs both sides of the plate very well. Change speeds.
That makes it 3-2 to Phillips. Full count on both the first 2 hitters. The Reds are 3rd in runs scored in the National League with 646. They lead the league in drawing walks with 531.
Well, I could sure see why with the top hitters in the order here, the way they've taken.
Absolutely.
They're a well-rounded team. They've pitched well, 4th in ERA. They've played defense well among the leaders. So it all adds up nicely for Dusty Baker.
Swing and a miss, and another strikeout for Bedard.
Pitch obviously out of the strike zone. Brandon Phillips knows it, but you get to that 3-2 count and you feel the need to expand around the corners just a bit. That smile didn't say happiness.
Now Joey Votto bats. Votto takes the pitch, and it's ball 1 to him. He leads the league in walks with 119. 308, 23 homers, 70 driven in.
A couple of Canadian-born players opposing each other.
Votto takes that one, and the 30-year-old player has a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Votto's from Toronto. Votto an all-star again this year. Chops one to first. Chris Carter makes it a 1-2-3 first for Eric Bedard. The Astros are up in a moment. Rotation for the first time since the end of June. Jonathan Villar leads off at shortstop. It's Jose Altuve at second. Trevor Crowe in left field. Brett Wallace the DH. Matt Dominguez at third. Chris Carter at first. Carlos Crawford in the catcher. L.J. Ho's in right. Brandon Barnes is the center fielder.
3 times on the DL this year for Johnny Cueto. Back off just today to make this start. Now 27 years of age, and when he's healthy, he's a very good one. 4-2, 3.33 the ERA. The opposition hitting just .213. That tells you a lot. Had 6 home runs against him. Left-handers just .205. Johnny Cueto can be very tough.
Jonathan Villar, the first man up against him. He's on a career-high 9-game hitting streak. There's strike 1 for Cueto, whose last start was the 28th of June. He's been on that DL, as Ash mentioned, 3 different times with a right lat injury. Through batting practice Wednesday, 60 pitches in that. And the changeup there, that's really his staple, Ash.
Dives at that last instant. Looks like a splitter. Mike Scott reborn.
Cueto from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. As Ash mentioned, he's 27.
Shortstop factory.
Yeah. 1-2. Well, Cueto has taken after Mario Soto, who came from that country and had a tremendous changeup with the Reds. He is 2-6 against the Astros with a 3.89 ERA. He's made 12 starts against Houston. That comes upstairs. And Jonathan Villar works the count to 2-2. Cueto has pitched well when he has pitched this year in those 9 starts with the ERA of 3.33. Has 64 career wins. And he gets a strikeout on VR. The throw will be made by Hannigan to first to complete that strikeout for out number 1.
But I think Astros hitters in the dugout ought to already have a very good idea about what they're going to be dealing with. I don't know if they have answers for that changeup. This is some kind of pitch.
Jose Altuve is up next. He has been hitting everything and everywhere in September. What a terrific month for Altuve. 435 in September. 3-game hitting streak currently. And there's ball 1 to Altuve. That brings his overall average up to 284 for the season. With 5 homers, 52 runs batted in. Has 27 hits in September in 62 at bats. Fouling it back, it's 1-1. So that makes him the major league leader in hits and batting average in September. He has 4 3-hit games and 1 4-hit game. And there are the glowing numbers for Altuve.
Yeah, you're not talking about the first week of the month. You're talking well now into the 3rd week.
And he bangs one, and it's gloved by the shortstop. But no throw by Cozart. Another hit for Altuve. The man is absolutely glowing hot.
He's got enough speed. If he puts it on the ground into the hole, any part of the infield, he's got a great chance of beating it out. His speed, though, really comes to the forefront when he's trying to steal bags. But you can see just one of those plays that you're left with nothing at shortstop.
He's aboard for Trevor Crowe. Crowe at 246 with 1 homer, has driven in 12.
28 hits, 6 doubles, and a dinger in the month of September for Altuve.
It's a good point you're making. It's not just singles. But some power with those 6 doubles, and the home run was a 3-run shot. Crowe takes a strike. This has been a staple now. This 1-2-3 part of the lineup. VR, Altuve, and Crowe. For 12 games in a row, it's been that way for Bo Porter. Throw goes over, and it's a strong throw. Altuve with 35 steals in 45 attempts is going to attract that attention. There's been 1 steal and 2 tries against Cueto in his 9 starts this season. Catcher Ryan Hannigan has thrown very well this year. He's gunned down 42% of those trying to run. That's a foul ball, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Well, the Reds were looking strong earlier this month. They won 3 of 4 against the Cardinals. They swept the Dodgers. Now they've hit the skids, losing 2 of 3 to the Cubs, losing 2 of 3 to Milwaukee. A very disappointing loss for them at Milwaukee yesterday. Jay Bruce was robbed of a 3-run homer with a fantastic catch in center field by Carlos Gomez, and then they lost it in the last of the 9th. Altuve goes. The shortstop waiting, and Cozart is stepping on second and throwing to first for a double play. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left, and it's scoreless after 1. First 2, Chu and Phillips, and got Votto on a grounder. Coming out of that bullpen warm-up session and throwing really well, although he went to a full count on both Chu and Phillips. And for both starting pitchers, it's going to be interesting to watch things develop because they have not been in their respective rotations. So some question as to how long they will be in this ball game, Ash.
I think Eric Bedard might have the chance to get a little deeper tonight than Johnny Cueto, but the Reds would also like to get Cueto at full strength by the time the season comes to its conclusion. He could be a key for their opportunities for success.
Strike 1 to Jay Bruce from Beaumont. Jay's had a big year in the power categories. Astros playing him with a pull shift. It's no balls and 2 strikes to Bruce. Bruce leads the National League in extra base hits. He's hit 29 homers. He's driven in 93 runs with an 812 OPS for Jay. Bedard gets a foul ball from the 26-year-old outfielder who hit .538 as a senior at Westbrook High School in Beaumont. Somebody evidently made a play from the cheering we heard down there. Ryan Ludwig is on deck. Lefties have slowed down Bruce and Votto. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. And in fact, it's a little unusual that it's Votto hitting third and Bruce hitting fourth, back-to-back left-handed hitters in the lineup. Ludwig is not sandwiched in between them. Rolled up the middle, and that's right through the other side of the shift for a Jay Bruce leadoff single. And with 2 strikes in the count, Dusty Baker has to like that from a man who has struck out 175 times. Let's go to Julia now.
Thank you, Brownie. We just want to remind everyone to catch all the action of the 2013 Major League postseason. It starts October 1st. Check your local listings for details. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. Get a little rest in this weekend, Julia?
A little bit.
Good.
I was busy with Dancing with the Astros as well, though.
Oh, that's right. We've got to get a full update from you on that. Ryan Ludwig is the batter. Since he came off the disabled list, the Reds are 19-14. He's missed most of the season with an opening day injury. There's strike one. 255 for Ludwig, 2 homers, 9 runs batted in. It's been a huge loss because Ludwig was to have been in the original planning the cleanup man, sandwiched in between Votto and Bruce, but because of his absence, that meant that Brandon Phillips has had to hit cleanup quite a bit of the time this year. Ludwig just came back off the DL on the 12th of August. He looks at that when he had a torn labrum in his right shoulder while sliding headfirst into third base on opening day. So he was out from opening day until mid-August.
All that excitement, you get through spring training, you stay healthy, and then opening day, you tear something up. It's so tough. You have to be around these guys to understand how much it means to them to stay healthy through the course of a season.
Bedard gets a swing from Ludwig, and that's a 1-2 count now as he faces the Reds for the first time in his career. So with all the familiarity that these clubs have had with each other down through the years, first time start for Bedard against this club. Boy, have they seen a lot of each other. The Astros are going for win number 400 against Cincinnati in their long history. This is the 840th meeting. Ludwig is down on strikes. That's number 3 for Bedard. Todd Frazier will follow.
Bedard turns to the off-speed, breaking ball. Still leaves it up a bit. That's not ideal location.
Frazier's had a down year compared to last season. 239, 16 homers, 68 runs batted in. Tantalizing pitch goes for strike one. Todd last year hit 273. Had 19 homers. He drove in 67, so he actually has one more RBI than he did a year ago. But it's tough to stack those seasons together. 1 ball, 1 strike, especially when a player's trying to really settle in as a major league player. Todd's 27 years old. Supplemental pick after the first round of the draft in 07. From Point Pleasant, New Jersey. That's in for a strike, and the Reds are doing a lot of taking.
Yes, they are.
It's 1-2.
I can certainly see how they become one of those teams that draws a lot of walk. You mentioned that they lead the league, the National League, in drawing walks. They just take and take and take.
That puts it in the hands of Wally Bell. VR around to the pull side on Frazier. That's in the dirt. Carlos Corcoran scrambling for it. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
I've always felt the way you deal with a team that has this philosophy of wanting to take a lot of pitches is throw a lot of strikes. And a guy that I watched just make life miserable on clubs that wanted to play this way offensively, Roy Halladay. He would just get ahead of them and then make life miserable the deeper it got in the count, so it forced the hitters to immediately abandon their ploy and start swinging the bats.
Well, wasn't he a master at that? But this year you watch him on the highlights and he's falling behind 1-0 constantly.
Not the same guy. He's lost a lot of velocity. That age will do things to you.
Is that what you're hearing?
None of which are good.
Swing and a miss, and Frazier's down on strikes. So that's 4 strikeouts for Bedard.
Although I look at you and I'm not so sure it's universally true.
But think of all the experience you're acquiring.
Oh, there you go, yeah. Always that positive.
Bedard with 4 punch-outs moves along to face Cozart. .251 for Zach Cozart, 10 homers. He's driven in 55. Zach turned 28 in mid-August. He's from Memphis, went to the University of Mississippi. He's taking, and it's ball 1 to Cozart. Well, this Reds club is stacked with veterans and with some younger players like Cozart mixed in, but Votto and Phillips and the others who have been around for a while. This is going to be a very important couple of weeks coming up. Runner going. No throw by Corp. Looked like he couldn't get a grip on it. And it's ball 2. Stolen base for Bruce, number 5.
Bedard with a nice slide step. That cuts down on the jump. But as you say, just inability there to make the transfer from glove to throwing hand for Carlos Corporon.
Bronson Arroyo's been with this Reds team for a long time. It's going to be an important 2 weeks coming up for Dusty Baker's players as they try to get back in that playoff mix. They were 97-65 last year. They won the division by 9 games.
They are still a very good home club. It's on the road where they've had their struggles. At home, 48-26. On the road, 4 games under. Everybody always says if you can play .500 on the road and then have a nice home record, you've got a chance of getting yourself into postseason play.
That's a strike. Dusty has managed 6 playoff teams. He's in the top 20 on the managerial win list all time. Shot to left field, headed for the seats if it gets there, and it is a fair ball, and it does get there. A 2-run shot for Cozart. 2-0 Cincinnati as Zach hits number 11 of the year, giving him 57 runs batted in. .149 long balls for the Reds. They're 5th in the National League.
How much does defense factor in that ability or inability to throw out a guy trying to steal when Bedard provides the slide step? Leads to one more hitter, and that one more hitter launches a 2-run shot.
Ryan Hannigan, the catcher, takes a look at it.
Doesn't get out by a whole lot, but the rules haven't changed. As long as it gets out, you're going to get it.
Bedard comes up and in on Hannigan and falls behind. 2 balls, no strikes. .206 for Hannigan, 2 homers, 21 runs batted in. He is known as an outstanding receiver. That's in for a strike to make it 2-1 with Chris Heisey on deck. Hannigan turned 33 in mid-August. Came up to the Reds in '07. That one's in the air, and Jose Altuve's backing into shallow right field for it. It's 2 runs, 2 hits, and the Reds lead at 2-0.
Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score, but the experience. Okay.
Well, Julia, now that we have a moment, how was Dancing with the Astros last night?
Oh, we had a great time. They raised a lot of money, and the guys made everybody laugh.
The pictures look fantastic from there.
I was impressed with some of these guys.
Red Wallace leading it off. We'll get more about that from Julia as we go along. And it's ball one to Brett. 224, 13 homers, 34 runs batted in. Yeah, the guys really worked very well with their partners. By all accounts, we heard it was a fantastic evening, raising about $200,000 for charity. That is terrific.
I don't know if Julia can still hear, but Jake Elmore was supposed to have been quite a star on the dance floor. Dallas Keuchel won the whole thing. He had kind of a little trickery there with his partner.
Oh, did he?
A nice little vault onto the shoulders of Keuchel. I think it should have gone the other way, though.
All right, so Jake got robbed by the official score?
Some people have cried unfair.
Okay.
Either way, they were both very good.
And we heard some great remarks about Jose Altuve's work on the dance floor.
Hannigan's head was flying all over the place on this. Never expose your ears. Of course, with the hockey masks now, it doesn't really matter much, but you want to keep your eyes straight forward on those pitches in the dirt.
Wallace went deep a couple days ago. The weekend series, a 2-run shot on Saturday against the Angels. Jared Weaver fouls that one. And the pictures looked really good of Jared Cozart also on the dance floor.
Pictures don't dance, though, do they?
They can.
I want to see the video. I want to see the proof. There he is, reveling in the aftermath of a great night of dancing.
Up and into Wallace. Now 3-2 for Cueto. Johnny last year was 19-9 with a 2.78 ERA for the Reds. Finished fourth in the Cy Young voting. Worked 217 innings. He comes back and strikes out Wallace. That's number 2. All right, let's check this out, Ash.
Yeah, there's Jose Altuve. Oh, Carlos Corcoran. He's got a little hip action going on.
Carlos.
Now there's your, well, no, that is not your winner then. 10 out of 10, is that what he got?
Josh Zide was gushing, yep. And Trevor Crow. Oh.
There's your winning performance.
That's what won it for him, the shoulder roll. Yeah. And he got a huge trophy. Matt Dominguez takes ball one.
Not to mention ego.
Where's he going to put that thing? Steve Bunin there joined Julia as the co-hosts of it. There's ball one to Matt. And it's a 1-ball-1-strike count. 243 for Matt, 20 home runs, 74 runs batted in for Domingo. He's going to stay here this winter, become a Houston resident. He's on a 5-game hitting streak. He'll like it. 2 balls and a strike.
If he plays the way he has been lately on a team that gets into the postseason, he'll stay here and not buy a dinner all year long.
Could be a very good move for him. He'll like life in Houston in the wintertime. Foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, with the season he's having, he should be embraced by a lot of folks around here in the winter months. He's the 4th Houston third baseman to have a 20 home run season.
He's won me over, Brownie. I see Matt Dominguez as the long-term answer at third. Swings like that have gone a long ways.
Well, they have. He hits some of the best fastballs around, and Mr. Aroldis Chapman in the Reds bullpen will remember what Dominguez did when facing him last September. Dominguez looks at it, and it's ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes. In fact, Dominguez touched up Mr. Cueto last year with a 3-run homer. He rocks this one. Wow, was that a good sound coming off the bat? Unfortunately, not fair.
That's big boy sound, ball and bat. This is the fastball. Finds the heart of the plate, maybe in a little bit, but very quick to the baseball.
Friday night, he hit his second grand slam of the season. He taps this one to the right side. Joey Votto with a backhand play. Then he shovels over to Cueto, who then found the bag with his left foot for out number 2. Votto has a lot of range. Very aggressive first baseman. He's made more errors than anybody in the National League, but also he's getting to more balls.
It also means the pitcher has to be aware of that and get over at all times. And then if you find yourself trying to step on a dancing bag, give it more than one try.
A dancing bag. Was there a dancing bag entered in the Dance with the Stros?
Dancing with the Stros brought all 3 bags, and only the first base bag proved that it could move around that way.
Chris Carter, the batter. Strike one to Carter with 27 homers, 77 runs batted in, and a .219 batting average for Chris. Both these pitchers kind of turned their back on their hitter after a fashion. 1 ball, 1 strike. Homer Bailey's having quite a year for the Reds, but he will not pitch in this series. It's a 2-ball, 1 strike count. Bailey's 11-10 with a 3.40 ERA, struck out 193. Bronson Arroyo's 13-11 for them with a 3.56. The ageless right-handers worked 192 innings. Matt Latos will go against the Pirates. He's 14-6 with a 3.14. That's a shot by Carter. And into the left field corner. He'll take a turn and head for second base. Here's the throw by Heisey. It's a 2-out double for the big first baseman, his 23rd of the year. Remember earlier this year he wasn't hitting many doubles. And now gives him 27 homers, 23 doubles for the season.
Get yourself facing a 2-1 count. That's a hitter's count. And a pitcher on the mound that's bringing a fastball generally around 90 miles an hour, and he comes with that looked for fastball. You should drill it, and that's exactly what Carter does.
Hit number 2 for the Astros. Carlos Corcoran moves into the box. He brings 7 homers, 18 runs batted in, 235 batting average to the plate against Cueto. There's ball 1. Mike Leake is 13-6 for the Reds with a 3.35 ERA, and he'll pitch here tomorrow night. 31 pitches so far for Johnny Cueto. Tony Cingrani is injured right now. Lefty from Rice. High to right field. Backing up Bruce. And it's no runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. A little dancing from last night with the Stros. Jose Altuve and his partner. It was a good show. Reds lead it here 2-0.
Through the 29th, Mariano Rivera and the New York Yankees come to Minute Maid Park for the Astros' final series of the season. Be a part of history as Rivera closes out his Hall of Fame career with a special pregame ceremony that's on Sunday the 29th. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com for your tickets.
2-0. The Reds lead it on a home run by Zach Cozart in the second inning off Eric Bedard, who will face Chris Heisey leading off the third. That's strike 1 to Heisey. 232 is his average, including 9 homers. He's driven in 21. Heisey hits one toward right center field. L.J. Hose takes care of out number 1 for Eric Bedard. Wild card race in the American League. Texas has really been slipping, losing 9 of 10. And currently it's Texas and Tampa Bay, and they're playing each other. They're tied for the wild card lead with Cleveland only a half game back. Baltimore 2.5. The Yankees 3 and Kansas City 3.5.
Those two teams on the top playing terrible baseball here in recent times. In Texas, they've got to be wondering, how do you go 1-9 in your last 10 and find yourself still in the hunt?
That's caught in left field by Crow on the drive by Shin-Soo Choo. Kind of a looping line drive. Hit fairly well, but Crow got over to take care of out number 2.
Crow continues to do a nice job, whether with the bat or with the glove.
There's that Texas-Tampa Bay game. 2-1 Rays after 4. And now we have an update. It's 2-2 in the bottom of the 5th. Will Myers hit his 13th. Matt Garza pitching for the Rangers against his former club, the Rays. Very big ball game for the Rangers. Now Brandon Phillips, after the first 2 outs have been made, he struck out in the first inning. Well, that Oakland club has put 6.5 games between it and the Rangers. The wild card, realistically, is all the Rangers have left. 6.5 with 2 weeks to go. That is a very daunting task.
A couple of weeks ago, the Rangers had a chance to put away the Oakland A's. Just have fallen flat on their faces.
Yeah, they sure have, and it's been a shared failure, but the group that has not hit, including Adrian Beltre, Ian Kinsler, Mitch Moreland, David Murphy, Leonis Martin, Craig Gentry, none of those guys have hit in the last 2 weeks. Phillips strikes out, and that's a 1-2-3 third for Bedard. 2-0 Reds.
And Brandon Barnes is coming up here for the Astros. He is on deck, and he has been very busy today, especially on the Twitter world. His chosen charity is one that fights pediatric cancer, and his AT&T tweet of the game is, "My Belief shirt makes its debut at 10 a.m. Pacific time." Go to athletesbrand.com and check it out. You can see the tank there. His wife is wearing Sean. They're both $30. Proceeds go to pediatric cancer. Brandon actually designed these, the hands praying position and batting gloves there. And he said this is a charity that hits home. His young stepbrother actually fought and beat pediatric cancer recently. Brownie.
Great cause and a great effort by Brandon and his wife. There is ball 1 to LJ Hose, or to Brandon rather. Brandon on deck. It's LJ Hose with a 1-1 strike count. We got a shot of Brandon on deck. Hose at 270 with a homer, has 8 runs batted in and a 322 on base average. That's athletesbrand.com, as Julia mentioned. Fly ball goes to right field. Jay Bruce waiting, and it's out number 1. Well, it's a great young group of Astros players. They're doing quite a bit in the community. We were talking yesterday, I believe it was, Ash, about Jason and Maris Castro and their donation of all these thousands of books to Houston area schools, and then Brandon and his wife Sean, and they have a lot of company there among their teammates who are doing quite a few charitable things in the community.
So many things come your way as a player. It's a magic life, and it's really nice to see the guys turn around and hand some of that magic back to others who have very little.
Ball went upstairs from Cueto to Barnes. 248 for Brandon. 7 homers, 40 runs batted in. Had a couple of hits yesterday. He fouls that one back with a good cut. It's a 1-1 strike count. So Brandon batting 9th again, as he was yesterday when he went 2 for 3 in that ball game. And he also had a 2-hit game Friday night against the Angels for a good weekend series for Brandon. Astros have won 4 of their last 6. They're 7-7 in September. Lays off the breaking pitch, and it goes to 2-1. The last 14 games, Barnes is hitting .375. So Bo Porter's club averaging 4.9 runs per game in September for 14 ball games. The offense has really been much better. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the Astros are 8-9 in interleague play. The Reds are also 8-9 in interleague play. Swing, and Barnes is down on strikes. That's number 3 for Cueto.
Johnny Cueto doesn't have the blow-away stuff, at least right now. And again on the DL 3 times over the course of the year, and on an extended stay recently. The Reds really need this guy, though.
He could be very big for them, especially if they make the playoffs and he continues to stretch it out in their rotation, or maybe even as a reliever in the postseason. Jonathan VR looks at ball 1. VR struck out in the first inning. The Athletics are playing at home later tonight against the Angels. They'll have Jared Parker on the mound against C.J. Wilson. That's a cutter, it looked like, and it got a kind of a weird swing. The desired result for Cueto, a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
VR thinks he's swinging at a fastball when he starts, and then when he realizes this little cutter's coming in on the hands, tries to stop it, just has no ability to do that.
It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
It's amazing the things that can go through your head in that split second as ball leaves hand of pitcher.
Like, why am I standing here?
Sometimes.
A little chop. Cueto over, and he tosses to Votto at first. And after 3, it's 2-0 Reds. Joey Votto is ready to go in the 4th inning. The shift is on for him, putting Altuve in right field. Votto grounded out to first earlier. Strike 1 to Votto. 48 pitches so far for Bedard. In for a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. Paul Clemens had a good start yesterday. It was a 2-1 loss to the Angels, but he went 7, allowing 2 runs. Votto will do this every now and then. He takes a little stroll.
A number of hitters tonight have been doing this, and this is the issue that I really have. I really think the umpires should step in and not allow that.
Liner past the diving Dominguez. And Votto hitting against the shift. Took that 0-2 pitch hard into left. Throw back to first. VR is going to keep these guys honest as they round first base. He doubled somebody off yesterday, but they won't take too many liberties when he throws over like that.
One of the reasons why Joey Votto is such a successful hitter is his ability to hit the ball to all fields and hit it sharply. Guy is just a pure hitter of the baseball.
Hank Conger got doubled off on a sac fly to left yesterday when VR spun around and threw him out. Jay Bruce is the batter. He singled, stole a base, and scored on the Cozart home run. Ball 1 to Bruce.
I think what Bedard has been doing very well against these Reds hitters who do seem to want to take is throw those early strikes. It hasn't really brought them to swinging the bat yet, but at some point it will. And as soon as I say that, he falls behind 2-0.
Jay Bruce, a first-round draft choice in 05. He was the 12th player drafted that year. Won a Silver Slugger last year with 34 homers, 99 runs batted in. He has had some very big games against the Astros. That's a strike. Jay with 18 career homers, 49 runs batted in against Houston pitching.
See Jay Bruce with this backwards walk away from the box and then walks it back just about every pitch.
It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count to Bruce.
I don't see where there's a need for this. This just causes standing around in baseball, and that is not playing baseball.
You mean you didn't do that yourself?
Well, if I did, I deserve to be spanked. That's all I've got to say.
How about Glenn Davis? Did he do it?
I don't know. Glenn was too busy hitting home runs. Big bopper and all that stuff.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Bruce. Votto won't be running here, will he?
He's not one of your base thieves, but when you go to 3-2 and you already have a 2-0 lead, it loosens the reins a bit.
Bruce strikes out a lot. takes ball 4, and runners are at first and second on the first walk by Bedard.
This Wednesday, September 18th, is your chance to meet Jose Altuve and Astros alumni Alex Trevino as part of our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. Jose and Alex will sign autographs from 11 a.m. until noon at the Whataburger at 11027 Fuquay. That's in Houston. While you're there, register for a chance to win tickets to see the Astros take on the Yankees on Saturday, September 28th. And a behind-the-scenes tour of Minute Maid Park. Players subject to change and autographs will be limited.
We had a nice discussion about catching with Alex and you before the game tonight. 2 men on now, and it's Ryan Ludwig batting. Ludwig struck out in the second inning.
And Alex was really good in that regard, and it's a lot of fun kind of reminiscing about the old times.
Well, you guys have a lot to think about when you're behind the dish. You ever go behind the plate anymore?
Only while passing through.
What does that mean?
I have no idea, but okay. I was hoping you'd buy in.
I'm not buying that. No, do you ever just go out to a baseball field near your home?
You know, squatting down is not part of the program. If I wind up in that area, it's by mistake. And my great times since playing days were playing with my kids and my wife and just going out and throwing to them and letting them hit. Baseball is so wonderful in that regard.
Yeah. Strike makes it 1-1. Well, you know, a father who has a son as a pitcher would catch him quite regularly, right?
Certainly should if he has that ability and lack of common sense.
Until the kid gets too fast to handle, yeah. And then he'll let somebody else do it.
Get yourself some full catcher's gear before you make that move.
Yeah. It's side for a ball. That makes it 2-1. It gets a little dicey when the kid starts throwing about 95 and has a sharp breaking ball.
Good heavens, 50 miles an hour and start hitting the plate out in front of you. It's pretty dicey right there.
It's time to hand off the tools to someone else.
I'm going to be a coach and not an interactive coach.
Padres are leading the Pirates 2-0 in the top of the 8th in Pittsburgh. I don't think the Reds are glancing at that scoreboard at all. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count to Ludwig. And he takes a walk. These guys are taking some strolls tonight.
It is just steady stroll time. We are in the park and having a leisurely time.
Cardinals have fallen behind in the early going at Colorado 1-0. They're in the top of the second. That's ball 3, 3-2.
Yeah, these strolls are not what I consider the great part of Major League Baseball. And the intriguing thing is, as we go around from team to team, people are always talking about time of game. And this stuff adds up quite a bit.
Big 3-2 pitch coming for Bedard. And it's ball 4, and the bases are loaded with no outs. On a single and 2 walks, and that brings up Frazier. Frazier struck out in the second inning. He had an encounter with Pete Rose a few days ago, and Rose was encouraging to Todd Frazier about his hitting. It's been a rough year for Frazier, but Pete pulled him aside at Great American Ballpark. At that point, he was in an 0-for-31 slump. Strike 1 to Frazier.
I don't know if Pete Rose ever had to deal with the difficulties that the mere mortal that grabbed a bat and went to home plate might have dealt with in his lifetime, but if there's anybody to talk to about how to get better, it would be Pete Rose. He was one of those guys who grinded out this game about as well as anybody I've ever seen.
How about the Reds 0 for their last 13 with the bases loaded?
Surprising.
No balls, 2 strikes.
We've talked about the St. Louis Cardinals and how good they continue to be in that category, well out in front of all of the other 29 clubs in Major League Baseball. Why are they so good in that regard? Is it just a magical year?
Cardinals hit the ball up the middle very well with men in scoring position.
Could certainly factor in.
That's a strikeout, and Frazier slams at the bat. That's strikeout number 6 for Bedard, and a key out number 1. Now a double play ball gets him out of the inning with no more runs.
Exactly, and that's what you want to do. You get a guy that's not swinging a big bat. Cozart coming to the plate. Get yourself that ground ball. People talk about getting that front foot down early, and that was very early.
Cozart looks at it. There's strike 1 to him.
If you don't throw a strike early in the count, these Reds are going to find a way to beat you because they are not swinging.
Cozart hit 2 homers against Astros pitching last year, drove in 5. This one goes into right field, and that'll score Votto. And now Bruce coming to the plate. The throw from Hose. Corcoran with the tag. The ball is not caught. It gets away, and now they've got a run down. They've got an out here. The 2 runs are already home. Corcoran with the tag. Well, Votto and Bruce scored. Ludwig got hung up halfway between second and third. And Cozart ran up his back. And what a night for Cozart with 4 runs batted in.
Yeah, for the Reds, this is a problem created by Ludwig. I'm not sure what he saw that led him to head towards second base. But it could have presented a very intriguing play, as was this effort at home plate. That's so tough with the catcher's mitt. Bang, bang, knee of the runner coming into the glove. You really can't fault a catcher for not hanging on to this baseball. But I saw potential flip towards second base to get Ludwig. And at that point, Bruce would have potentially still been hung up.
Cozart at second for Hannigan. Hannigan popped to second earlier. 4 runs on 4 hits now for the Reds, and 4 runs batted in for Cozart, giving him 59.
Guy said Ludwig heading that way. It was really Cozart that forced the action.
Well, maybe your old buddy Billy Hatcher tried to restrain him at first. We didn't see what Hatch was doing. He's the coach at first base. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I hear his name, I see his face, and I smile. What a wonderful man Billy Hatcher is.
Yep.
Always had so much fun playing with Billy. And I'll always remember that home run in the playoffs against the Mets, high off the foul pole at the old Astrodome.
Popped up, and Dominguez comes over to foul territory. And in the 4th inning, the Reds put up another 2 spot on 2 hits. They leave a man. They're up 4-0. Is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And by Capital One. Spark unlimited business checking from Capital One Bank with unlimited transactions. Well-coordinated stuff on the dance floor.
Some of that, I don't know if it's fancy footwork or not, but it's a pretty impressive trickery going on, and Jake Elmore just continues to dazzle.
Jake enjoyed himself. There's ball 1 to Jose Altuve.
It's all about scoreboard, though, isn't it, Kike?
He's got that big trophy. Altuve reached on an infield hit earlier. Takes a strike there, and it's a 1 ball, 1 strike. 4 hits for the Reds and 4 runs. 2 hits for the Astros. They grounded into a double play in the first after the Altuve hit. And he rolls this one out to shortstop. Cozart taking his time, taking care of out number 1 as Lucas Harrell warms up for Houston. Johnny Cueto returning to the rotation tonight has allowed a 1-out single to Altuve in the first, a 2-out double to Carter in the 2nd inning. Trevor Crowe grounded into a 6-3 double play after that Altuve first inning hit. George Springer was one of 8 position players named to MLB.com's all prospect team today. Quite a year for Springer at AA and AAA combined. A .303 average, 37 homers, 108 runs batted in, 45 steals with a .600 slugging percentage. Harrell warming up. So he got another honor today after being named to Baseball America's minor league all-star team last week. One of 8 players to do so. 2-0 for Cueto.
Well, if ever the term deserving applies, this would be it.
You bet. It's in for a strike. That makes it 2-1. Mike Leake will start tomorrow night for the Reds against Jordan Lyles. It'll be Brad Peacock starting the Wednesday game for the Astros. And Greg Reynolds, the big right-hander who used to be with the Rockies, will be the Red starter. So Matt Latos can be moved back to Friday in Pittsburgh. 2 balls, 2 strikes. PNC will be hopping this weekend again. It's ball 3, and it's 3-2 now to Crow. Cubs and Brewers are scoreless. They've played 3 in Milwaukee.
But I bet when Cueto delivers a pitch way out of the strike zone like that and then takes a little walk, Dusty Baker and staff are watching very closely.
Oh, you know that. This is a very important game for him.
3 times on the DL.
He gets a strikeout on Crow, blistering that fastball for strikeout number 4. He had some action on that one, riding it up and away.
You get those right-handers who get huge movement away from the left-hand hitters. They leave you starting your swing feeling like the ball is in the strike zone, and in the end, it's just well out.
Now it's 2 outs and Brett Wallace up. He worked the count full before striking out in the 2nd inning. The Texas Rangers have lost 5 series in a row now, while Oakland has won 6 series in a row. What a turnaround in the AL West. There's a strike.
Take that back to August 29th. The Texas Rangers had a full 3-game lead on the Oakland A's. And it's turned 9.5 games in that span.
Is it a wild card race, or is it a wild card slowdown in the American League? In the last month, Texas is 11-16, Tampa Bay 13-16, Baltimore 14-15. The best record, Cleveland 16-12 among all the wild card contenders in the American League in the last month. So the Indians have worked their way into a very favorable spot right now.
Maybe all teams are simply scared to death to find themselves as wild card teams that play a 1-game and in kind of a scenario.
That's a crapshoot. Wallace looks at ball 3. It's 3-1 to Brett. Phillies are pounding the Marlins in Philadelphia. It's 11-2 for Ryan Sandberg's club. Chase Utley hit his 17th homer. Darren Ruff, number 14. Cliff Lee on the mound. Pulled on the ground. Phillips can't get there, and that's a single with 2 outs for Wallace in the right field. Boston, with a huge 9.5 game lead, will be sewing it up soon. Tampa Bay at 2nd. Detroit has a 5-game edge over Cleveland in the Central. Oakland 6.5 up on Texas in the West.
It wasn't all that long ago that Tampa was hanging right with the Boston Red Sox. In fact, I believe at one point, maybe less than a month ago, had a percentage point or 2 lead.
Tampa Bay usually is a strong September team.
Yeah, they're such a strong starting pitching team that they have typically had that result.
Matt Dominguez shoots one to right center field, and Jay Bruce comes in for it. That takes care of out number 3, although he might have thought it was out number 2. No runs, a hit, and a man left, and after 4, it's 4-0 Reds. Astros, and we have a pitching change with Lucas Harrell coming in for Eric Bedard. Bedard going the first 4, and he gave up a 2-run homer to Cozart and a 2-run single to Cozart. Throwing 70 pitches, 45 were strikes. Lucas Harrell comes in with a 6-16 mark and a 6.01 ERA.
And the opposition hasn't had a rough time. They're hitting .296 against him. Right-hand hitters. Righties hitting .341 and 19 dingers allowed. Walks. He's been up there leading the league with most walks allowed, so it's been a tough season for Lucas.
Facing Chris Heisey, leading it off here in the 5th inning. For Bedard, 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 70 pitches, 45 for strikes. Heisey hit a fly ball to right in the 3rd inning. Pops up the first pitch. Altuve over to his left. Carter is there. Altuve takes over. We go to Julia.
Thank you very much, Brownie. I'm with our progressive fan of the game. This is Gio. He's 10 years old, a huge Astros fan. I want to ask you who your favorite Astro is.
Chris Biggio and Altuve.
Those are 2 good Astros. He even has a hat signed by Jimmy Paredes he's rocking today, Brownie.
Good-looking kid. You're just going to hang out with him for a while, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll give you 2 a couple innings. Shin-Soo Choo, the batter. And there's ball 1. Chu is 0 for 2. He was caught looking in the first and hit a line drive caught by the left fielder Trevor Crowe. He's being scouted right now, Ash, because he's a potential free agent.
You take potential out of the statement when you talk about solid player.
True.
Maybe sometimes in some circles anyway, unheralded, but he can play.
Would you rather have Shin-Soo Choo in right field, and he's been playing center most of the time this year, or Hunter Pence?
Choo's 30 years of age. 31 now, officially. I don't know, what is Hunter click in at?
We're going to check on Hunter's age. I think he's a little bit younger.
Hunter Pence has been showing a lot of power once again.
He certainly has. That's the 102nd walk for Choo. His on-base average is .422. This is his best year. Brandon Phillips has struck out both times. Hunter Pence is having, I think this may be his best year. Not in batting average, but probably overall. Ground ball hit through the left side, and Phillips advances Choo to second. 2 men on with 1 out now for Joey Votto.
It's always amusing interesting anyway, to watch hitters in their at-bats. Brandon Phillips was in that taking it mode in the first couple of at-bats and wound up striking out. This time, just first pitch swinging. Let's go ahead and jump on something, and gets the nod.
Now Votto, who singled and scored in the 4th inning, is 1 for 2.
Yeah, I probably would lean to Hunter Pence with his abilities with the power game and to be a middle of the order guy. I guess it depends what you need.
Well, we've heard that Hunter Pence is talking, his agent is talking to the Giants about possibly signing, but he also is headed for free agency, as is Choo right now. Hunter Pence is 30 years old, so a little bit younger than Choo. Right-handed hitter compared to a left-handed hitter. So this is what happens, at least in part, for major league organizations this time of year. We know that there's one scout here from one organization who's looking at Choo as a potential free agent for his club. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. And there is that conversation then, if they both turn free agents, which would you rather have? Kind of an interesting thought right now.
Well, again, if you're looking for that guy with the on-base percentage, Choo, with this reach, the walk here, has a .422 on-base mark, and that is very impressive, and I'm sure any club would love to have that. But maybe as the guy that is in the heart of the order, driving in runs and hitting for power, you'd probably look the other direction.
2-1 to Votto. And there's ball 3 to Joey.
And if you're looking for postseason pre-game inspirational speeches to the club, you got to go Hunter Pence.
Well, he's such a high energy guy and tremendous power. Both are essentially right fielders, even though Chu's played primarily center this year. And another walk loads the bases. Bases loaded with 1 out, and a total of 4 walks in the ball game, 2 for Harrell. And now it's Jay Bruce, who has a single and a walk, a 2-run scored tonight. Now Doug Brocale comes out. Lucas Harrell has just been plagued by bases on balls this year. He's worked 141 innings now, and he's walked 84. We go to Julia.
Thank you, Brownie. Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and more. We have all your sports news covered. Check out Sportsnet Central 7 days a week at 6:10 and midnight on Comcast Sportsnet, your home of your home teams. Lots of stuff going on these shows, guys.
Yeah. Astros fans watching and hoping Lucas Harrell can get a double play ball here. Bruce, with that good start to this ball game, comes up and presents a threat with the bases loaded and 1 out. He takes strike 1. Well, Lucas has been throwing strikes 57% of the time. That's the lowest figure in the American League this year. In the dirt, and it's 1-1. Hunter Pence this season has 25 homers, 92 runs batted in, and a .295 batting average. Ash.
Good numbers, no question about it, and he's been accelerating things here of late.
Bouncer up the middle. Altuve cannot get it. Single on through the middle, scoring 2 runs to make it 6-0. And Jay Bruce now has 95 runs batted in. He reaches for the 3rd straight time in this game. There are probably some Jay Bruce fans, and that is the Bruce cheer that we're hearing.
Yeah, Lucas Harrell is the only guy who's got a shot at this ground ball, and once it gets on by, all shots are off. Can't be walking people like this, as Lucas has done all season long.
Now Ryan Ludwig has struck out and he's walked. 6 runs on 6 hits for the Reds, 4 walks in the mix for them. There's strike 1. You know, back to the Chu versus Pence decision that an organization might make. You can see why the Giants are trying to sign Pence, because the free agent crop does not seem to be all that great for this winter. And they know him. They've seen him at his best. So it's not a surprise, as it can be when a team signs a free agent who's not been with them. Popped up. Infield fly called, and Carter takes care of it for out number 2. You know, players, of course, are heavily scouted when they're free agents, but still, the teams talk all the time about players who come up through the system, and they know exactly what they're getting from those players when they've been in the system for a while, as opposed to just seeing a player a few games from across the field. There's how that swing took him, and the bat dipped, and he popped it up.
A lot of people talk about flat bats through the strike zone. Some good hitters will do that, and some will employ this barrel down approach.
This one lands, and the 3 players went for it, but Altuve gets up slowly, and he got it. Jose Altuve is able to make that catch in front of Barnes at center field, and it was in no man's land, but he slid and held on. And the good play by Altuve stopped them from doing more damage in the top of the 5th inning. Altuve out there in a ball that was just in front of Barnes, but he couldn't get to it. Jose left his feet. We didn't know at first if he had caught that ball or not, Ash.
Looks like he also digs in that knee. I don't know if he really got dug in there. Not an easy play. And Not sure he's feeling as good as you normally would after making a nice play.
Probably happy he doesn't have to do dancing with the Astros tonight.
Yeah, he didn't do any tangling with Brandon Barnes either on that play.
Chris Carter, the batter. Here's ball one to Chris. He ripped a double to the left field corner in the second inning. Johnny Cueto, of course, needs to complete 5 innings to qualify for the win. That one over shortstop is a line drive and sinking into Heisey's glove. This Heisey just got there. Julia.
Thanks, Brownie. Hispanic Heritage Month started yesterday, recognizing the presence of Hispanic and Latino Americans in the U.S. And it's very important to several players in this Astros clubhouse, including Carlos Corporon. Here he is with our Geico quote of the game.
You come here, you know, you're trying to establish here and trying to play this sport, and because we don't have the opportunity back home, you know, and then people in the big league, you know, and Americans, I mean, let us the privilege to come here and perform. I mean, that's, I mean, a lot. I mean, I'm happy.
Ball one to Carlos. The score 6-0 Reds. L.J. Ho's on deck. Chases the changeup, and it's a 1-ball-1-strike count. That can be a common happening with Cueto on the mound with that excellent movement he has on that change.
Just dives at the last moment. The changeup already taking effect, and then that dive. You better be stand back with your hands, or you have no chance.
Upstairs for a ball that makes it 2-1. Detroit has the edge on the Mariners. 4-1. Detroit, top of the 8th inning in the Motor City. Almonte hit his second home run for Seattle. Tigers getting close to clinching the AL Central. Strike makes it 2-2 to Corp. Kansas City, though, has been pretty spunky lately, and the Royals still in it. And they're beating the Indians 2-0 in the middle of the 4th in Kansas City tonight. Indians have made a big push. That goes into the seats, and it's still a 2-ball, 2-strike count. For Cleveland tonight, it's Scott Kazmir. And James Shields has the shutout going for Kansas City. Astros will be headed for Cleveland after the Wednesday night finale of this homestand. Cleveland is last in the majors in attendance, Ash.
And they've had a good club. And under Terry Francona, you might have anticipated things turning around. It's a very depressed area, but then so is Detroit.
And sneaks through the left side, and it's a single for Carlos Corporon between third and short. At number 4 for the Astros.
Yeah, it's generally the two clubs in Florida that are right at the bottom in terms of attendance. That body rocking the rhythm from last night coming into play here. It's jammed and finds a hole.
A little salsa dance. Put that ball out into left field. Maybe he can samba his way around the bases. With L.J. Ho's the batter, he hit a fly ball to right in the 3rd. That's strike one. Have you ever done the samba, Ash?
You know, I stay as far away from the dance floor as allowed to mankind. My wife is always begging me, and begging, that's not the right word.
Urging you?
Yeah, she's urging them, no question.
High chop, that gets over the third baseman. Here's Kozar throwing from short, not in time. Infield hit for Hose. Well, many years ago, they used to call that type of hit a Baltimore chop. The infield was really, really hard in Baltimore, leading to that phrase. Not sure if it hit the plate or what it hit, but that took a huge bounce.
Of course, when everybody had AstroTurf fields, they would call it an AstroTurf hit, and then you'd watch the replay, and it never touched AstroTurf, and you think, oh, what's that all about? But yeah, that area around in front of home plate can be really solid, hard, and just take advantage.
Now 2 men on for Brandon Barnes. He struck out in the first time up to the plate in the 3rd inning. Dodgers and Diamondbacks play in the desert later tonight with 13-game winner Hyunjin Ryu going for L.A. And it's foul ball, strike one, with Alfredo Simon warming up for Cincinnati. It would appear that the game plan here for Dusty Baker is to get Cueto through 5 so he can qualify for the win. He's at 69 pitches and make it 70 now. Rockies still lead the Cardinals 1-0. They're in the middle of the 4th in Colorado. The shot, diving stop by Frazier. He throws to second. Phillips drops it, but he got the out at second base. Terrific play by Frazier, launching his body toward the foul line and forcing Hose from 5 to 4.
And a very aggressive throw towards second base. Boy, put some hair on that throw. Don't know that they had any shot to complete a double play with Barnes going down the line. But that is a whale of a play, and those can be game changers.
Would that be why he was thinking about throwing to second rather than going to third base? He thought he could get a double play?
I would say yes. I would say in going to third base, yeah, you can get that lead runner. But your only shot at the double play is to fire on to second and get it in Phillips' hands.
Jonathan VR bats. VR takes a strike. He's 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a ground out to the pitcher.
Great defense can get so overlooked in this game, but I think managers would be able to tell you how much it means to a club. You just cut down the potential big innings.
Isn't that huge? No balls, 2 strikes. Lance Lynn is pitching for St. Louis in Colorado.
You want to put up good pitching numbers for a club over the course of a year. One great way is have solid and outstanding defense.
One and two. Well, really, as we look at the Astros club for next year, that would be one primary area in which it would not be that difficult to improve. They've allowed 73 unearned runs. They've committed 109 errors, and that could really help things if they can tighten it up defensively.
They have been right at or just off worst in the league in fielding percentage all season long, and that's it's an area that's going to make it really impossible on your pitching staff.
The Astros pitchers have walked more than any other American League team. That could be improved. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The ERA is the worst in the league, 4.80, but improved defensive play will bring that ERA down.
Brings the ERA down. It drastically can change those unearned runs that get scored against the club. Yeah, if I had my option between a team that runs the bases really well and a team that plays great defense, I'd take the latter. I think you can look at the Detroit Tigers. They're not going to steal bags, and they don't do a whole lot of that extra base thing, but they swing the bats really well, they pitch well, and they play solid defense, and it's a great formula.
The Pirates were shut out at home by the Padres 2-0. Andrew Kashner winning his 10th, beating A.J. Burnett, who's 8 and 11. Every time we get to the final 2 weeks and that sort of thing happens, people are saying, well, how can they allow a team like that to be 3-2? It happens all the time in baseball. A team with absolutely nothing on the line except another ball game.
That can't be so, because all I've ever heard is that you never let a team like that beat you.
Well, you're not letting them. But Kashner pitched a 1-hitter. He didn't walk anybody. He struck out 7.
It had to be concessionary.
Runner takes off from first, and it's ball 4 to VR. The bases are loaded. So the idea is that the team playing loose can sometimes go out there and beat a team that's in the hunt, playing just gripping it. Sometimes just mashing that bat so tight that it's hard for the hitters to do a whole lot. They're feeling it. They're feeling the importance of every pitch, and that can work against them sometimes.
It can be all of that, but baseball is it's a game that is so impossible to figure out at times. I've been on clubs many times where you're accused of not caring. Obviously, you were flat. You just showed no emotion. When in reality, you got shut out on a given night when everybody in the dugout was hollering and patting on backs and doing everything they could, and you just couldn't swing the bats. And you look flat when that's the case.
Pitching coach Brian Price went out. Bases loaded for Jose Altuve. He's 1 for 2. With 2 outs, a big situation here for the Astros, trailing 6-0 with Trevor Crowe on deck. And that's ball 1. The appeal goes to first, make it strike 1. Marvin Hudson with the call. And Altuve failed to check his swing. In tight, that almost hit him, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The only hit for the Pirates came from Jose Tabata, their left fielder and leadoff man.
You know, Brownie, this inning with the Reds defense, I think, is a prime example. You never know what an inning might turn out like without the defense, but it all starts with Carter lining what appeared to be a would-be base hit to left field. A solid play, a very nice play in left field to rob him. And then the play that we've talked about down at third. Otherwise, there may not be an out in the inning.
Very good point, Ash. 1 and 2. Altuve has been doing so many things well here in the month of September. He's the guy the Astros would want at the plate in this situation. This season, he is 3 for 10. With the bases loaded. 276 this year with runners in scoring position. Looking for something he can handle on a 1-2 count. Cueto gets a strikeout to end the 5th inning threat. That strikeout number 5 could be it for him. It's no runs, 2 hits, 3 men stranded. We move to the 6th. 6-0 Cincinnati. Producer for many of our telecasts is on the right there. His wife April there, and his son Holden enjoying Astros baseball from Minute Maid Park. MLB.TV celebrates 11 years. Keep up with the pennant races and catch the rest of the season in HD quality. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 350 mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.com TV today. And we now move to inning number 6. Lucas Harrell on the mound. The Reds have had 3 2-run innings, the 2nd, the 4th, and the 5th. And there's ball 1 to the man who's driven in 4 of their 6 runs, Zach Cozart. 2-run homer in the 2nd, 2-run single in the 4th. Matt Dominguez takes care of that one, 1 out. Ryan Hannigan will be next. 6-0 for the Reds, 0-5-0 for the Astros. Cincinnati has stranded 3. Houston has left 5. That's a strike for Lucas Harrell. Last year he was 11 and 11 in the starting rotation. Altuve to his left. On over to Carter. 2 outs. Astros trivia today is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. What do we have for you? Let's see, Ash. Toyota, let's go places. Here comes the trivia. Who was the first Hispanic born outside the U.S. to win the Cy Young Award?
I bet you know this right off the bat.
No. Just trying to think back. How far back do you think we have to go? As Heisey looks at ball.
Yeah, I'm really asking myself that question. The name that comes at me, Juan Marichal, but I don't know if that goes back far enough.
See, I thought him too. 1 ball, 1 strike. So at least we were thinking along the same lines, but we're told that is not the correct line.
Did El Tiante ever win the Cy Young Award?
2 balls and strike.
What about Mike Cuellar?
Cuellar won the ERA title. I think he won the Cy Young Award. High chop to the left side. Dominguez can't get it. Villar uncorks a wild throw into the dugout. And that will allow Heisey to reach second base. Yeah, he was very deep after the ball got by Domingo and just tried to make it an all-arm, flat-footed throw and uncorked one. That'll be an error for him, his 12th of the year, maybe a hit and an error.
And we've seen a lot of throws get away from Jonathan Villar, and an area that he can work on. I would just think that in pregame drills, as many throws from all angles, all spots at shortstop would be very beneficial.
2-out error, 2-base error also. There's strike one. Well, on a play like that, for instance, if he just puts the ball in his pocket, there's a runner at first and 2 outs. Chu is 0 for 2 with a walk and a run score.
Would you advise in that direction?
Yes.
I think he's so loaded with tools that he can make the exceptional play. And
yeah.
I don't know that this even reaches exceptional. I think he's very capable of this play.
Well, I have to agree with you. And players are going to try to make plays if they think they can. So that's understood.
And I want that guy who thinks he can make the plays. But if there was no play to be made, a good throw still leaves that scenario you talk about.
So you can do one of two things. You can go ahead and try to get the ball over there, but don't throw it as hard as you possibly can without any accuracy. So if you don't get him, at least the first baseman can catch it. Or you can not throw it at all. What's your choice?
I think of Gary Templeton, Sean Dunston, and I'm going back quite a ways. Probably because I'm a little more familiar with those guys, and that ability to just come up with that play that may not look like the play that maybe you take your shot at all out, but those guys are going to air it out across the infield.
Okay.
But they had honed that throw through repetition, and maybe in some cases just because it came natural to them. But I think Villar has the tools to make all the plays.
Okay. That's the ball in the dirt, 3-2. So what you're essentially saying is you don't mind seeing that happen.
No, I really don't. In fact, I applaud the effort. Just want to see everything else that needs to come along with it. I see a guy who is loaded with the tools to become one of the game's outstanding shortstops. He's not quite there yet.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with this club this year in having him try that play.
Nope.
Find out what he can't do so he'll know what he should try to do. There's another walk to Chu and his second of the night. That's the third walk for Harrell and the fifth walk for Astros pitching. Yeah, you make a lot of sense with what you're saying there, and certainly that's a part of the growing maturity situation for a young player.
Look, in no way am I saying it's right. It's just what I believe. Now, if I were looking at a guy that I thought was short on tools, I'd probably say, go ahead and eat it. You're just risking problems here, but I see much more than that.
Brandon Phillips rocks one deep to left center field. This is a high flyer. Brandon Barnes back. It stays up for him, though, and it's out number 3. It's no runs, no hits, 1 error, 2 men left, and it's 6-0 Cincinnati in the 6th. Answer our trivia question. Hispanic-born Cy Young Award winner, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Let's go to the Cy Young answer. Who was he? Mike Cuellar. You got it, Ash.
How about that?
Baltimore 1969. Former Astro, of course.
Classy left-hander.
One of the worst trades in Houston history. 16 Major League seasons. Reds, Cardinals, Astros, Orioles, and Angels. 4-time All-Star. Great screwball. 2-time World Series champion.
He was a bit of Fernando Valenzuela before Fernando came around.
Traded for Kurt Blefary. Oh well. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Alfredo Simon in the game. What's going on here?
I think that was an editorial comment on your part right there, Brian.
Pretty much. There were extenuating circumstances, as there always are.
Yes.
Crow is 0 for 2. Johnny Cueto in 5 innings allowed 5 hits, no runs. With 1 walk, he struck out 5. Alfredo Simon at 95 miles per hour throws it in there for strike one. Those are his numbers this season.
Right-handers hitting just 211. Good running fastball that we just saw. 61 hits allowed in 75 innings. Very good figure.
Well, according to those who were here at the time, Ash, Mike Cuellar was getting very frustrated with Astros management. He wanted to pitch deeper in games.
They didn't have a pitch count involved then, did they?
No. He thought he was being taken out of games too soon. And so he had grown disenchanted. That was part of it.
Sounds a bit like Joaquin Andujar, maybe. There's Joaquin. Won a Cy Young Award as well.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, he certainly blossomed once he got out of Houston and moved on to Baltimore.
Sometimes it just takes a new set of circumstances. But it's not like Joaquin wasn't successful here in Houston. If you could just figure out which arm to put that one-arm jacket on.
Wasn't that fun to watch him when he ran the bases? He was a right-hander and he put the jacket over his left arm only.
Yeah, you want to make sure and keep that glove arm supple.
Still 1 ball and 2 strikes for Alfredo Simon, who used to be known as Alfredo Simon when he was with Baltimore. Last year, Alfredo Simon, though, had a much better ERA than he ever did as Alfredo Simon.
Well, you're going to stick with Simon then.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Simon said 2.66 last year.
Did he really?
That's a shot into right center field. Jay Bruce on the run. That'll bounce and go all the way to the bullpen wall. Trevor Crowe legging it around second. And he's going to stop there because there's nobody out in the inning and the Astros are trailing by 6. A double for Crowe, number 7.
What more exactly can Trevor Crowe do here in the month of September to tell somebody that maybe he needs a chance to be an everyday outfielder come early next year? You know, and I said the other day, you don't know if that's going to be with Houston, but he's trying to let somebody know that maybe he deserves that shot.
Big swing of the bat there. You're right, he has done it all. He's hit safely in 13 of his last 17 games, better than 300 over that stretch. Plays a good outfield. Brett Wallace is 1 for 2. Danced well last night at Dancing with the Stros, and he shaved. Fly ball to center field. Chu backing on it, and Crowe will tag. Chu with the catch. Crowe moving to third base on a long out number 1. Julia.
Thank you, Brownie. Catch the Astros Hispanic Heritage Street Festival presented by State Farm on Saturday, September 28th. The Astros take on the Yankees at 6:10, but come early for the free festival featuring live salsa music, dancing, an autograph session, beer, and local food trucks. Game tickets are available at 1-877-9-ASTROS or at astros.com. Trevor also, he said he was shaved. I wonder if it had anything to do with his disappointment from last night's competition.
Well, I was going to ask you maybe.
His teammates were very disappointed in him.
Well, what did you think about Jake Elmore, though?
Jake Elmore was fantastic.
Okay.
But we kind of knew that coming in. He put a lot of work into his routine.
You know, Ash is suggesting that maybe he didn't get judged properly.
Did I go that far?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure that you're accurately portraying my...
Well, I'll say this. Jake Elmore went first. Dallas Keuchel went last.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all in the timing, isn't it?
And the lifts.
Yeah.
The lifts were so... It came out of nowhere, guys.
Well, you know, the thing with that type of contest, Julia, you don't want to be first.
No.
Because you know Keuchel's waiting in the wings, and he's going to blow everybody away.
That's your winning pair right there.
They were great. Some insight on Dallas, though. He never stopped practicing. The guys had an hour, and then they went backstage to get ready and kind of watch things as the speakers and things like that. Dallas was in the back room the entire time.
Twirling that lady the whole time?
They practiced the entire time until he had to come out.
He must be tired today.
He's probably sore.
And Jake Elmore, what was he doing? Was he just kind of in that cocky dancer style, just kind of sitting around thinking, I got this thing made?
No, not at all. I caught Jake. He was you could tell he was counting through and doing the moves. He wasn't full out by any means, but he was in the wings, just kind of going over it several times.
That's Dallas back there, but It's kind of surprising, Julia, because he's probably been in the training room all night.
And notice the two aren't hanging side by side right now.
Fierce competitors. Rolled out to second, and the runner comes home. Dominguez will get the RBI. Crow scoring, and it's 6-1. That's the 75th run batted in for Matt Dominguez.
Sometimes this is all it takes is that ground ball, and sometimes it takes more than these stylish moves by Jake
Julia, he really didn't get a fair break from the judges on this. He's got the attitude.
He did a great job. Made eye contact. That's one thing he said he should have maybe had a little more eye contact. I just think Dallas going last and with all those crazy lifts.
Yeah. Chris Carter, the batter. Now, Trevor Crow, we just saw Trevor there. He's known as a guy who's fundamentally sound, and he seems to be emphasizing that in his dance.
Carlos Corporon did not make it easy on poor Trevor in the interviews right after.
Oh, okay. So the judging was done entirely by these guys' teammates?
Yes, and they were given an opportunity to write messages on boards right after they were finished, and I kind of went around and asked what people had on their boards. My favorite was Jared Cozart's after his performance. Lyles actually wrote, "Good thing he throws 98."
Carter with a tap to third base. Frazier with the throw. It's 1 run, 1 hit for the Astros. Through 6, it's 6-1 Reds. Six-1 ball game. The Reds lead it. We go to the 7th inning, and the Reds have out-hit the Astros. No, they haven't. They're tied at 6. The Astros have the only error in the game. We go to the 7th inning, and it's Joey Votto batting. He has a single and a walk. There is strike one.
Is that your alter ego that corrects you at times?
No. The scoreboard wasn't quite up yet, and I thought maybe the Reds had out-hit the Astros, but kind of surprising they haven't. Outscored them 6-1, but the hits are even. 1 ball, 1 strike. How many times do you think a major league club that leads its opponent in hits wins a major league game?
I would say the vast majority of the time.
Yeah.
Unless that ugly culprit in the walks column comes up. 5-1 in walks. Astros pitchers have allowed the 5.
That's an ugly culprit, all right.
Of course, the extra base columns can tell a big story as well.
Fouled away. Still 1-2 to Votto. Four straight years he's been an all-star. He had an 0-for-13 skid. Inside to make it a 2-ball, 2-strike count. The Reds' base running evidently was not up to standards in the series in Milwaukee. That's a strikeout looking for Votto. Out number 1 for Harold. It's his first strikeout as well.
I don't think Joey Votto's in full agreement about this pitch being called a strike. That fastball runs back to the inside edge.
It didn't appear to be.
It's very close, if not on the plate.
Just checking his strikeouts, Ash. That's number 131. There's ball 1. Votto with 131 strikeouts. Last year he struck out 85 times.
I'd be curious how many of this figure on this year have come looking.
Yeah. Altuve backhands, throwing to get Jay Bruce. This moment in history is brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center. September 16th, 1988, Tom Browning pitched a perfect game against the Dodgers, striking out 8, allowing only 8 balls to be hit out of the infield in a 1-0 win, part of a 3-game stretch, in which he retired 40 straight, 1 shy of the record. Who set that record, you know?
What?
I think I know. It's really a...
Is it from a back-to-back no-hit combo that the guy put together?
I think it's Jim Barr of the Giants.
Ooh.
So it wouldn't be somebody who would come to mind immediately, but we'll try to check on that between now and September 29th. There is strike 1 to Ryan Ludwig. September 29th is the final day of the season, so that's why we have to do it before then. No balls, 2 strikes. Ludwig is 0 for 2 with a walk.
There you go, setting arbitrary timelines on everything we do.
Well, it's not one of those things that would be on the front burner, right? Strikeout, and that makes it a 1-2-3 seventh for Lucas Harrell. 6-1 Reds.
Continue their part as the spoiler tomorrow in Game 2 of the series versus their old Central rivals, the Cincinnati Reds. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet.
Let's look ahead to tomorrow's starting pitching matchup, brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. It is Mike Leake. He's 13-6 with a 3.35 ERA. The Astros have faced him a bunch of times. He's 5-4 with a 3.76 ERA. And Jordan Lyles, he is 2-0 against Cincinnati with a 3.60. That's tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. We move to the bottom of the 7th inning. It's 6-1. Carlos Corpora on the batter as the Astros try to get something going. And Corp got a single in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2. He was stranded at third base, though. Well, we're going to have that answer for you about the previous record of 41 consecutive batters retired. Jim Barr of the Giants did it.
You are good.
That was a complete guess. But Bood's already got it long before September 29th. 0-2. Mark Burley retired the first 17 batters he faced against the Twins. And set the new mark at 45 in a row. How about that? 45 straight retired.
That on the heels of the perfect game?
Yep. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Wonder how many fans remember the great catch by Dwayne Wise to preserve that perfect game.
Several would. That was memorable. The way he climbed that wall in left center field to catch it. Strikeout looking. Corcoran retired. First strikeout for Simon. Number 6 for Reds pitching.
That is a lot of effective run on a fastball that starts well in and then just it does more than dart back over the plate.
L.J. Ho's got an infield hit to short in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2. Rays lead the Rangers 6-2. Steve Bunin was talking about that game. He'll have more on it later. They're in the top of the 9th in St. Petersburg. There's ball 1. Lance Berkman is in the lineup for the Rangers tonight. Alex Cobb got the start for the Rays against Matt Garza. That's in the air, foul. Votto takes a look at it as it goes out of play for a 1 ball, 1 strike count. Will Myers hit his 13th homer. He's making a strong Rookie of the Year bid in the American League. So both those clubs have identical 81 and 67 records. A lot of wild card implications at work in that series. It's a 4-game series, by the way. And Cleveland's just a half game behind both of them. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The Indians, like a club, just laying in the weeds, and they just keep picking up wins and getting a little bit closer.
They do. Tampa Bay really socked it to Matt Garza tonight. They got 6 earned runs in 4 1/3 innings against him.
Matt Garza has not been the guy that was anticipated pitching down the stretch.
No, he hasn't. He's been something of a disappointment. Alex Rios, though, has played quite well for the Rangers, but they still miss Nelson Cruz. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Now Johnny Peralta can rejoin Detroit for the playoffs. I think maybe 2 games before the end of the regular season. He's working out with the Tigers, but they've made it clear to him that he will not reclaim the starting shortstop job.
Talking about him being a left fielder next year.
Interesting. White Sox 9, Twins nothing after 5. in Chicago. Adam Dunn and Diane Viciedo with homers. Well, Simon has that downward plane going, and he gets strikeout number 2. Big guy, and he just gets that serious tilt right here, Ash.
And he gets that run back, that same pitch that he got Corcoran on, a little bit lower in this case. But you're right. You combine that running and sinking action right there, and you're going to give a lot of hitters fits.
Listed at 6'6". Brandon Barnes is the batter. He's 0 for 2. So the Cardinals have a road to first place tonight. They need to win at Colorado. They're tied 1-1 in the 6th. Strike to Barnes.
You know, a lot of people have believed, and probably still do, that you want to be a long strider off the rubber toward the plate. Well, the longer you stride, the lower you're going to create that release point. And so, you know, some of the guys that have been really successful at creating extreme downward angle have been short striders. Don Sutton and some others can come to mind from years gone by, but it's rare those guys who really stand up and pitch have a great deal of success. But you're right, all the talk seems to be about creating that downward angle.
You hear it all the time.
Tom Seaver had such a huge stride, and he would drive and drop that back knee to the ground. He did not get a downward angle, but it was a very unique low flat angle.
Yeah. And then he could get hitters swinging and missing underneath that four-seamer when he threw it upstairs.
He was very unique in what he brought visually to the hitter.
Barnes strikes out. Simon strikes out the side. We go to the 8th inning with the score 6-1 Reds.
And we do the game summary. It all got started with this home run early for the Cincinnati Reds. That picked up by Zach Cozart, a 2-run shot. So they led it 2-0 early. Then they get a big 2-run hit by Zach Cozart. 4 RBIs on his night. In the 5th inning, they pick up another pair. Jay Bruce had the big blow, 6-0 lead at the time, and they now lead 6-1.
And there's a foul ball from Todd Frazier, who's 0 for 3. 6-1 is the score, as Ash mentioned. The hits are even at 6. The Astros have the only error. Each club has stranded 5. Harrell bounces the breaking pitch. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Harrell had a 1-2-3-7. Bedard went the first 4. Harrell is in his 4th inning now. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Great to see all of our old buddies with the Reds. We've missed them.
Marty Brenneman and crew.
Yeah. Marty, a Hall of Fame broadcaster. And Milo Hamilton's here. The Astros, of course, he and Gene Elston, Hall of Fame broadcasters. And Harry Callis passed through here as well. Little roller, and Harrell will take it. Now flip to Carter. 1 out. He broke a bat in the process.
That was totally home remodeling right there by Lucas Harrell. He got deep in there.
Did you ever get one of those stretch Suba bats?
Oh, of course.
Make it into a lamp.
Those were mandatory back in the day.
Stretch would take a broken bat and use the barrel part of it to make a lamp with a batting helmet. Astros batting helmet on the top of the lamp.
Lemons and lemonade was the whole thing going on for Stretch.
Was it?
The lemon broken bat and turn it into just this gorgeous work of art.
Yeah. Cozart has a big 4 RBI game with a homer and a 2-run single. Takes that pitch for a ball. 2-1. That's in the air, and Chris Carter goes for it into foul territory over by Seats. Out of play. What do you think Dallas Keuchel will do with that trophy? You know, he's going to put it probably in his trophy room, right? And somebody's going to come in and say, "Oh, what baseball championship does this represent, Dallas?"
He'll kind of slur Dancing with the Stros, so it sounds like Dancing with the Stars. And oh, really? I missed that year, that season. Yeah.
But Dallas, were you pitcher of the year, or what is that all about? 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That'll trump an ERA crown anytime.
That's a lot bigger than a Cy Young award. Backhanded, now Dominguez scrambles and fires and gets a good recovery throw over there to get Cozart 2 out. That's well done.
Yeah, I'm not sure Cy Young comes quite so lavishly adorned. Yeah, this, and this is an example of a throw, airing it out after kind of kicking the ground ball.
Yeah.
Matt Dominguez is so accurate, other than one night this year when he had a couple of throws get away from him, but he's got that act honed down very nicely.
That's a great example of that play we talked about earlier with Jonathan Villar, of how to make that throw. Hannigan takes ball 1. So if Jonathan Villar can do that, no problem. He can throw out Heisey for the final out in the 6th inning.
And that starts extending Villar into the hole a little further to his right. Throws up the middle become unique, but you practice and practice and practice. Now, I had the pleasure of watching Omar Vizquel for a year. And these plays, these random extreme plays, don't just suddenly happen and, oh boy, he makes it. He practices those plays.
Out to right field for L.J. Hose. It's a 1-2-3 8th inning. That's 7 straight set down by Harrell, and it's 6-1 Reds.
Stay after for the best fireworks show in town, presented by Marathon Oil Corporation, featuring the top songs of 2013. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com to get your tickets today. You guys.
Hey, Julia, we did not get to talk with you this weekend because you had a few days off about that Japanese home run record set by Balancian. Did you hear about that? He has 57 home runs now, and he set a new record in Japan.
I sure did. I enjoyed hearing the controversy of whether or not they were going to pitch him. There were still 20 games left, I think, at the time, and there was all this talk that maybe Japanese pitchers were just going to walk him the rest of the season. I'm kind of glad that they finally let that go. It's incredible.
Yeah, 57 home runs. That's a big year. Jonathan Villar is the batter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. But we wanted to ask you about the baseball in Japan, because the story said the baseball is juiced in Japanese baseball. Have you read stories about that? When you've been there, have you witnessed that?
I haven't. I can't say that for sure. I've heard that they're not as good as the baseballs over here.
Okay.
But apparently they're getting better. 4 hitters.
Simon goes over to first. That's out number 1.
But I can do some investigating.
All right, why don't you do that and let us know?
Juice baseball sounds to me like sour grapes.
Yeah.
Well, of course, but the same thing is done in the U.S. where back when the Babe did it and Lou Gehrig and the boys, those were the dead ball era guys.
Yeah.
Really, they were hitting them 600 feet in the dead ball era.
Jose Altuve's 1 for 3. The remarkable thing is, in this day and age, the baseballs are still hand-stitched. That's ball 1.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that. You look at all the balls fouled off and given away and batting practice and everything every day in just the major leagues. You're not talking about the minor leagues and then college and everywhere else. It's just incredible.
Isn't it, though? 1 ball, 1 strike. They use those long needles to sew those stitches and bring those pieces of the baseball together.
Get those from fishing camps, I hear.
Well, that could be. That could very well be. There's a shot on the ground into left center field. Altuve has another multi-hit game. He is 2 for 4, and he's hitting almost 500 in the month of September. Leads the majors in hits and batting average in September.
Stings it. He puts it on the barrel again. You keep doing that, you'll make a couple of outs. You'll find far more holes, and that's what Jose Altuve is doing. Boy, does he look like a confident hitter. And well, he should be, with all the base hits flying all over the place here in September. And again, this is all happening coming on the heels of a month of August that saw him hit 200.
29 hits in September, and this is the 15th game. Trevor Crowe There's Cozart in the hole and getting it to second. Brandon Phillips no throw on to first. 2 outs. But Julia will know by tomorrow night. She will have the answer from Jose Altuve as to exactly what has gone into this turnaround from August to September.
I'm anxious to hear the answer. I've heard guys on occasions just start making stuff up on the spot, and other guys have some real reasons. Sometimes the reality is it just started happening. I have no idea.
Well, she'll come up with something better than that.
I should hope so.
Red Wallace is 1 for 3 tonight. I know what'll be. The baseballs are juiced in September. Manny Parra and Logan Andrusek warming up in the bullpen.
Julia did play the part of Brooke Burke last night, so she's got to come up with something big.
Yeah. Did you get to dance yourself, Juliet?
No, I did not get to dance.
Oh,
unfortunately.
Well, that's a disappointment. High drive to center field. Chu turned the wrong way. He still gets back and on the run to the warning. Whoa! He made that very adventurous. And it's out number 3. We move to the 9th inning with the Reds up 6-1. Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by Jack in the Box. Go big at participating Jack in the Box with Jack's really big chicken sandwich combos for only $3.99 plus tax. 9th inning arrives at Minute Maid Park. That was from last night's Dancing with the Astros. Jared Cozart and partner. There is strike 1. From Lucas Harrell. Chris Heisey's in the box. He is 0 for 3.
I thought that was nice the way Jared Cozart seemed to be allowing the spotlight to be on his partner.
Yeah. That's what a gentleman does. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He is a considerable gentleman based on what I just saw.
Yeah. It's 2 balls and a strike. Will Myers homered and had 3 runs batted in. Alex Cobb pitched 8 solid innings, and Tampa Bay beat Texas 6-2. That gives Tampa Bay the lead now in the first of 2 wild card spots in the American League. Crowd was 10,724 in St. Pete. VR comes in, fires to first. Well, the way he played that, he was going to have to fire it, and he pulled that play off quite well for out number 1. Got the big arm.
That's the big arm right there, Brownie, and clearly he's got it. I mean, that's a part of the arsenal, and nice to be able to see him cut it loose like that and put it on the money.
He gunned it. Harold's in a groove now. He's set down 8 in a row. Facing Chu next. Chu is 0 for 2 with a couple of walks and a run scored. There's ball 1.
Yeah, quite frankly, that play just made by VR is one of those where the scouts will all of a sudden take notice, and you see the pens come out and the writing starts. This guy can really throw from shortstop, might be able to make all the plays.
Three balls, no strikes. They put it on an iPad these days.
That may be the case. And then you immediately transfer back to the mothership.
3-1. There they are.
Yeah.
See any iPads down there?
See, well, I don't know about iPads at the moment, but they're writing. They're saying, man, this kid can really throw. And have you seen him run?
See any legal pads down there?
I don't know that any of those guys are allowed legal pads.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Logan Andrusek is warming up for the Reds. Brewers 3, Cubs 1, bottom of the 6th inning. White Sox lead the Twins 9-0 in the 6th. Cardinals 1-1 in the 7th at Colorado. Bottom of the 7th. Chu takes his 3rd walk. And that is number 4 for Lucas Harrell. Number 6 for Astros pitching. Brandon Phillips will be the batter. He's 1 for 4. Royals 5, Indians 1. Bottom of the 6th in Kansas City. Monty Chisenhall hit his 11th home run for Cleveland. Diamondbacks lead the Dodgers 2-0. They're in the top of the 4th with Trevor Cahill on the mound for Arizona. Paul Goldschmidt hit his 33rd home run. 1-0. Well, starting pitcher Eric Bedard threw 70 pitches. Now Lucas Harrell has thrown 70 pitches. Phillips chops it foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Braves and Nationals game postponed in Washington, D.C. And they will play a doubleheader tomorrow. It'll be a split day-night doubleheader because of the shootings today in the Washington, D.C. area. Still 1-2, or 1-2 now, rather. That Padre game, the 1-hitter by Cashner, giving San Diego its 69th win, really upsetting Pirate fans. They're 48-27 at home, and at PNC Park, they got only 1 hit tonight. The Angels have the early lead 2-0 at Oakland. They're in the top of the 2nd. Jared Parker pitching for Oakland. He was scratched yesterday because he was sick. And that's a strikeout of Phillips. That's number 3 for Lucas Harrell. 2 outs, and it's Votto batting.
And with this, number 9 in terms of strikeouts on Reds hitters for the night. That's hard sinker down out of the strike zone.
Joey Votto is 1 for 3 with a walk tonight. Votto came into this game hitting .427 at Minute Maid Park in 33 games. He bangs one into left field. Votto's 2nd hit of the game. That gets Chu over to second base and Jay Bruce to the plate.
And the 2nd time for Votto hitting one through the left side. Just a pure hitter.
He really is. Often hits to left field.
Like a golfer reminding himself about the swing that works.
Is that what you should do?
I can't give you that specific information. I've heard that from good golfers.
Okay.
Actually, I think I've heard you say that.
That's hit number 7 for the Reds. Jay Bruce has a pair of those. He's driven in 2 runs. He has a walk tonight as well. Had so many games like this as he returns close to home. There's strike 1. Rick Porcello and Detroit beat Seattle 4-2 in Detroit. Porcello goes to 13-8. He beats Joe Saunders, who's 11-15. Joaquin Benoit gets save number 21. Porcello struck out 10. There's a strike in 6 innings. The Tigers are just coasting now, getting close to clinching. Miguel Cabrera was 1 for 3 with a walk tonight.
Is he going to hang on and win that batting title?
He's at 349. That should give him enough to win it.
Mike Trout just took an 0 series here in Houston, though he did reach base numerous times. I believe 6 walks picked up by Trout.
See, Trout was hitting 332 before going 0 for 3 yesterday. So yeah, Cabrera should have it pretty well sewed up by now. 17, 18 points in less than 2 weeks. Yeah, he couldn't lose that. It's 2-2. Cabrera started the night at 350. And he's at 349 now. And Trout started the night at 330. So 20 points in 2 weeks. Nah, he couldn't make that up. Mathematically, could he? Yeah, probably. But 20 points in 2 weeks, maybe not even mathematically with as many at-bats as they have.
When you're talking Miguel Cabrera, I think it becomes all the more real.
Shot foul by Bruce. But, you know, some of those final day batting races are fun, aren't they?
Think back to George Brett and Hal McRae.
Oh, yeah.
Back in, what was that, the early 80s, maybe?
Yeah,
mid-80s?
Kansas City. Two teammates going figure. That would be
tough.
Very unusual.
Yep.
Battling a teammate. And then there was a fly ball hit to the Twins left fielder, and he misplayed it. And that was controversial on McRae. I think it was ruled an error, so McRae lost a hit on that, if memory serves, and it was a lot of controversy. Some people even accused the Twins left fielder of doing that on purpose because he wanted Brett to win. It'd be tough to make that accusation stand up. Broken bat roller. The bat flies into the seats, and Harrell tosses it over to Carter. And hopefully it appears nobody injured there as the bat went well into the seats. It's 6-1 Reds in the ninth.
Need to make it work right now, and there are the folks with that jagged end of the bat that came flying into the seats. Stay tuned for Astros Postgame Live presented by MD Anderson. I'm glad to see smiles up there in the seats when that sort of thing takes place.
They'll be playing jarts with that tomorrow.
Ooh.
Logan Andrusek, who is from Hallettsville, Texas, and lives in Shiner, is 3-1 with a 4.21 ERA.
He's allowed to hit an inning. Doesn't walk a whole lot. Pretty good figures. It's what you want from the guys in the bullpen trying to lock things down.
He is 6'8". Reds drafted him in 05 in the 13th round. He went to McLennan Community College. Last year he pitched 63 times with good numbers for the Reds. You were correcting me, Ash, before we go too much further into this bottom of the ninth inning on that George Brett and Hal McRae battle for a batting crown. I had it wrong. It was a ball that dropped in front of the Twins left fielder and was a hit for George Brett, right?
I would never correct you, Brownie.
No, please do.
That was my recollection on the play. But
I think you're right.
I mean, it was one of those last days of the season and late in the ball game where it had to go to that point to determine who was the batting champ.
Yeah. Matt Dominguez is 0 for 3. That's an RBI. There's strike one. And then we were just reading about that 1910 batting race. Ty Cobb thought he had a big enough lead. He sat out and he lost the batting title.
And I say good for Naplajoy or Naplajoie or whatever it was.
Yeah.
How did he pronounce his name?
I think it was Lajoie.
Lajoie, okay.
But that's French, and we don't often speak French, do we?
I've been disinclined in recent years.
Little roller out the shortstop. Cozart with a throw. That's out number one. Here's Carter, the batter. Carter with a double. He's 1 for 3. The Reds are in that situation of just hoping the Cardinals lose, and the Pirates have already lost. So they were 3.5 games behind both those clubs as they took the field tonight. With the Pirates losing to San Diego, they will now be doing some scoreboard watching when they get in. See how that Cardinal game comes out in Colorado. And currently it's 2-1 Rockies in the bottom of the 7th inning. Roller out to second. Phillips down on a knee. That's out number 2. So the way it appears, they'll become big Rockies fans, of course, after this game. Colorado leading 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. It could be a big night for the Reds. They could be gaining one game on both those two teams in front of them. Pittsburgh and St. Louis. They could be 2.5 behind both. Washington was postponed. Washington is the closest pursuer to the Reds for the second wild card spot. 4.5 back. That would be a tough order for the Nats to overtake the Reds. And they'll have a doubleheader now tomorrow.
Yeah, the Nats only have themselves to blame the way that the season has gone. They've played very well of late.
Fair ball. There's Votto tossing. 2 on Drusek. And that's the final out of this 6-1 win for Dusty Baker's club. The Reds with win number 85 of the season. Johnny Cueto gets his 5th win of the year. Eric Bedard, the loser, goes to 4-11. And the Reds capture game 1 of this 3-game series. Final score 6-1 Cincinnati.